In times like these, we all need a word of encouragement. From pastor and best-selling author Max Lucado comes the Max Lucado Encouraging Word podcast. With over 40 years of ministry and more than 145 million books sold in 50 languages, Max shares the greatest story ever told, the living Savior who brings hope for a lifetime. Through rich biblical insight, heartfelt storytelling, you'll be reminded that God is always near, always for you, and always in you. Listen to the Max Lucado Encouraging Word podcast, where hope meets your day. Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts.
One of these men is a highly respected New York attorney, Lucas A. Ferrara. The other is a self-proclaimed man of the people, known as Mert Roberts. Their aim is to discuss the hottest issues impacting our city, state, and nation. Fasten your seatbelt. Shake it off with Mert and Lucas, live, starts now on AM 970, The Answer.
That's an interesting beat, Alex. What's the name of that one?
Good evening, Lucas. This is called Space Fantasy tonight, and it's by the Apollo's Son. I can't really read that clearly.
It's DJ Bulls, 128, Space Fantasy.
Apollo. You know why? Because I thought about that.
You need glasses, Alex. Time to get glasses. By the way, on April Fool's Day, April 1, just after sunset, America finally did it. NASA launched its first crewed mission beyond low Earth orbit in more than 50 years. Mert, you weren't even born, but 50 years ago, we went to the moon. At 6:35 in the evening, the Space Launch System roared, lit up the Atlantic, and carried 4 astronauts on a 10-day swing past the moon. It was a moment that stirred up a sense of pride in people, awe, a sense of possibility. And as we watched that rocket rise, you could feel the old Apollo electricity humming again. Apollo is the name of the mission that went to the moon. But with the mission now over, this is with the new one that left April 1 and got back just the other day, another feeling is rising, Mert. It's a harder, more grounded one. Is this moon stuff worth it? And if it is, worth it compared to what? Because Artemis just isn't a space flight. It's a price tag. And boy, my friend, it's a big one. And in a country where families are being squeezed by rent, healthcare, debt, and an infrastructure that's literally crumbling under their feet, the question is a very real one, and it's urgent. So what say you, Mert? Was this Artemis mission the best use of our tax dollars or not?
Well, you know what? This is a weird question because, no offense, I've heard a lot of older people ask this question. Is it worth it? Is it necessary?
So then how is it weird if you have a lot of people asking the question?
Because it's weird because I know exactly why it's being asked. It's a weird question because we're supposed to be about pushing society forward.
Yeah.
Right? We're supposed to push things forward. We're not supposed to stay stagnant. And we're always going to have issues with people on planet Earth not being able to afford and all these issues that are always going to be here. But we still have to push forward. And I'm hearing all these old people, no offense, complain about why are we trying to go to Mars? Why are we trying to go in space?
He's ageist. The judges are not liking this one. The judges happen to be old too, Mert, but keep going.
What I'm trying to say is, listen, it's necessary. You're not going to be able to bring everything up at once. Sometimes you got to focus on things that can really help out the most people. If we can figure out a way to go colonize Mars, colonize and use the moon as a launching point, this becomes something tremendous for the future. Now, you old people out there might not be able to see the fruits that this tree bears, but it will benefit your legacies in the long run because you can get this started now. Donald Trump will get credit for this if it turns into anything, because he's the president that launched this mission. So, or I don't know if it was him. It might have been in the works.
Like over a decade in the making. By the way, this has been characterized as a boondoggle.
This is Obama. Okay, so a black man. So this is Obama's doing. Okay, I like that even more.
It's his boondoggle.
I like this even more. I like it even more now.
No, but I bet you do. I bet you do.
But continue. I said what I need to say.
Do you have any idea how much this mission cost? Any idea? You want to take a guess?
Man, I don't have any idea. Billions of dollars, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's right, billions. Alex, you want to take a guess?
Well, I saw the title of tonight's show, but I'm going to guess up there in the billions as well.
Alex,
he knows,
Alex,
but he's going to guess.
Looked at the title of the show. That's helpful. The co-host doesn't even bother. But for the folks out there, it's about 93 billion. 93 billion, and that's through the end of 2025. They haven't come up with the 2026 numbers, and that's money that's spent, and the meter is still running. Okay, now just the rocket and the crew capsule, that's the backbone of Artemis, Mert, that cost about $44 billion in development costs. And each Artemis mission, Mert, it's about $4 billion per launch, according to NASA's Inspector General. That's per flight. And that's a rocket that's thrown away after every use. So I don't know, Mert. Billions of dollars literally going into the toilet. Now, talking about toilets, did you hear about the fact that the toilet wasn't working on this mission, on this recent mission? So apparently, there was some blockage with the toilet. I'm not making this up. This is actual news. And they had to make up for this inability to use the toilet, and they won't get more specific.
They couldn't just open up a window and just release it out into space.
And that toilet, do you have any idea what this non-working toilet costs on this thing? This jalopy? You want to take a guess?
$1 million probably.
Alex, it's not in this title, so take a guess. What did this non-working toilet...
Didn't I see something like $23 million or something?
How did you know that, by the way?
Because I watch the news all the time.
That is correct. Give yourself
By the way,
a winning...
This also came on the heels of them shutting down communication with Mission Control for, I think, 40 hours or something like that.
Yeah, what was that about? Was that because of where it was, in the universe?
There was some maintenance, and they had to cut off. And look, I think that's pretty scary. If you can't talk with your flight in space, isn't that nerve-wracking to even Mission Control? I would think so, but...
Look, Michael Bloomberg, you know him. He's the billionaire, Mert, and the former mayor of the city of New York. He said, there are government boondoggles, then there's NASA's Artemis program. That was his quote. And he pointed to the nearly $100 billion spent. And he said maybe the next president should rethink the whole program entirely.
Look, another old guy with a problem.
Another very rich old white guy, by the way. And you know what? I happen to agree. Look, there are bigger issues in our society, Mert, that $93 billion can help significantly.
Well, you know what? It's interesting that you say that, because, no offense, but you just said it yourself. You're an older guy. You've been around for as long as you've been around, and have any of these problems that we're dealing with today been solved? They've been around before you guys were alive, and they're still here.
Will be around after.
But you know what? But hold on a second. You know what we have accomplished since you guys have been born? In your lifetime, for the first time, we went to the moon. You were probably about 30 years old when we went to the moon the first time.
That's
so
right.
You got to see.
That would make me about 80. That would make me about 80 now. Thank you very much.
So you got to see this firsthand, how we can make tremendous leaps if we invest in certain things.
Great strides. I agree.
And these things, one more thing, these things don't rely on human decency to correct. So you don't have to worry about someone else doing the right thing. You just need to make sure the math is right and the technology is right, which makes it an easier thing to accomplish than fixing poverty and homelessness and all that stuff, because that requires human decency to fix those issues. And if you have people going in every which way direction, those types of problems become a lot more challenging, and you can't just throw money at them.
To Mert's point, if I can weigh in, when they did this in '69, there was so much going on. There was civil rights movement. There was the Vietnam War. This moment in '69 really united the country. So I see where
that's
Mert's
right.
coming
It was an amazing moment. And to this very day, a lot of people are saying it was all fraudulent and it wasn't real video. Do you remember that, Alex? Did you
I remember Buzz Aldrin punching out some guy that doubted him. That was fun video to watch.
Yeah, I mean, to this very day, Mert, they're saying it wasn't real and the whole thing took place in a TV studio. I mean, but let's get back to the cost. 93, almost $100 billion. And you know what, folks? And I think we should think about this. Across the country, rents are sky high. Okay, in many cities, the median rent is about $2,000 a month. Families are doubling up. Seniors are being priced out. Teachers, nurses, and service workers can't afford to live near their jobs. The U.S. is facing a shortage of millions of affordable units, and we're playing with spaceships. I mean, do you know how many housing vouchers, 93 billion could buy, Mert? It could help families afford rent. Okay, tens of billions can close the gap, giving hundreds of thousands of families housing. How could you not be receptive to that? All about public housing. Mom Dami's a big proponent of public housing. Do you know in what disarray, particularly in the New York City area, public housing is in? They estimate that some 70 billion in dollars are required to repair public housing nationwide. Mold, broken elevators, heating failures. So there's 70 billion right there, Mert. Just a couple of more examples. How about some new affordable units? Federal support can create an amazing number of units and encourage private markets simply, to build for low-income renters. And what about homelessness, Mert? Even modest rental assistance can prevent evictions and help the homeless. We've got people living in the streets. Look at the videos from California. It is shameless to see all those homeless people on the streets. That is not an answer. We're spending billions of dollars sending people to the moon, but we have people, Americans, living in the streets. Then that's okay. I
gave this serious thought. I've thought about this before, and it would take the United States flipping and destroying the real estate industry to correct all those little issues you just described. Because in order to really solve the homeless and the housing crisis, really solve it, really just totally eliminate it, you would need to eliminate private housing on any level, and just
goodness.
That's what it would take.
Now you sound like a communist. You're a Mount
No. That's what you sound like. That's what you sound like because you're promoting the elimination of private housing, the real estate.
When did I say that? Alex, did I say eliminate private housing?
You did not say that, actually.
Well, let me explain how you're saying it.
Oh my God, merch.
If you're going to create enough housing units for people to really take advantage of, you have to flood the market with them. You can't just make 20, 25, 100, because there's still going to be people out there who need these housing units. There's still people out there who are going to be homeless. So in order to ensure that this problem is solved and not just pushed off until more people are born and then you have more people contributing to this existing issue, you have to make so many affordable housing units that you push all the privateness out of it, and you create a situation where everybody can get a house. Now, if you're willing to do that, you might just do yourself in because you're a real estate litigation attorney, as you put it while we were talking before. And that would put you out of business because this is what you thrive on, private real estate. And that's
I am not advocating for the elimination of private real estate. That's nonsense. That's mum-dummy.
That is totally mum-dummy.
You have me confused for the mayor of the city of New York. I believe in capitalism, and I believe in free enterprise. I don't believe that there should be
I stand to be corrected.
What we're talking about tonight is whether $100 billion would be better spent on something else, considering people are hungry, considering people are homeless, and people are suffering from all sorts of mental issues, crises. I mean, we have people going crazy, and we don't have hospitals that can address their needs. We don't have doctors that can address their needs. We have kids committing suicide at record numbers, and we have kids using guns and resorting to gun violence at schools, and many of them suffer from crisis and family trauma, and they never got the assistance they needed. $100 billion could help allay some of that. It has nothing to do with the elimination.
No. See, what you're doing is you're making a big mistake right now. You're making a big mistake because you're talking about a one-time expense versus a problem that will go on for eternity and continue to inflate and inflate.
Well,
that's why they're trying to. That's why. Hold on a second.
Reallocation of resources. Murder.
That's why they're trying to get rid of Social Security and all these social programs now, because we keep having babies. And everything keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's a pyramid scheme, basically.
Oh, my goodness.
Shooting a rocket off into space is a one-off thing.
In some respects, it is a pyramid scheme, but you need younger people to contribute to the system for Social Security to survive. I get it. But, look, what does it have to do with addressing the needs? What does it have to do with addressing? What does it have to do with addressing needs of our society?
Because that $100 billion number you keep throwing out, it fails in comparison to the actual number that it would take to continuously feed, house, and do all these little social programs you're talking about. That number is way bigger than $100 billion. That number would be in the trillions and trillions of dollars, because it's not something that would just go away after a weekend. This is something that you would have to continue to implement for years and years and years to come. And you know that. That's why I was confused. I thought I was talking to Mom Dummy, but you corrected me, and I appreciate that. It was an honest mistake that I was making to think that, maybe you wanted to do some of these radical social programs, since you're talking about reallocating that $100 billion to something else.
Oh, my goodness. No thing's radical. You're radical. Look, here's the paradox before we have to go, Mert. There are surveys, Pew, Gallup. Americans want us to lead in space, like you mentioned earlier. They want NASA to be involved, not these billionaires, okay? Not Musk or Elon or Bezos. They want NASA. They want scientific progress. They want planetary defense. They want climate monitoring. They want innovation. But, Mert, my boy, they want fiscal restraint. They want accountability. They want priorities. And they want the Earth to come first. So it's not about not exploring, it's about explore smartly, explore responsibly, okay? And that, to me, is not a bad philosophy. So, my friends, this is where the conversation lands. Artemis 2, technical triumph. It's a symbol of American capability. It's a reminder that we can do big things. I get it. But it's also a $93 billion program in a country where families can't afford rent. Healthcare bankrupts people. Bridges are falling. Schools are underfunded. So the question isn't anti-space. It's pro-priorities. What matters most? Okay? So let's not forget people on Earth. Mert, the moon can wait. Americans can't. And with the crew safely back, the $93 billion question hangs in the air. And that's
that sounds nice. That sounds nice. But that's not how things work. That would be
what does work. This is Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas Live. Sorry, Mert, we got to go. We're truly honored to have you along with us for the ride. Would you believe this is episode 92? Come on, let's hear an amen.
Amen.
A little slow tonight. Would you believe this is Lucas Ferrara? I don't believe it. And we're ever mindful that without you, we are nothing. So we're truly grateful for your support. We've got some great guests in store for you. Before we unleash them, let me introduce the Mertonator, my great co-host who's in a bad mood tonight, Mert Roberts. He's the one and only man of the people. Watch with him. You don't mess with him. Anyway, engineering, producing this show is none other than Alex Garrett. He's got a 5-star rated podcast, One Leg Up. Alex Garrett, please check it out. Now, after the break, Nancy Lee Gulbrandsen's coming on the program. She's got a great book. It's like top 10 on Amazon. It's called Swipe Left. It's about dating. And then during the second hour, we've got Jamie Floyd, Dr. John Lott, and they'll come in to talk about their respective experiences, and you won't want to miss what they have to say. So don't you dare drift. Don't you dare blink. Shake it off with Mert, Alex, and all of us here at AM 970 will return after these messages.
Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 55 East 59th Street, New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate, on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Born on America's darkest day of September 11th, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been helping America's heroes ever since. Heroes like Fire Captain Andrew Donner. Inspired by the bravery of New York City's firefighters on 9/11, Andrew devoted his life to serving his community. He rose to the ranks of his fire department, sharing his knowledge, training rigorously, and leading with courage. But after a brave battle, Andrew lost his life to lung cancer caused by occupational toxins. Andrew leaves behind his beloved wife Jessica, their son, his parents, and sister. Tunnel to Towers honored Andrew by paying the Donner family's mortgage. Please help more families like the Donners. Your donation to Tunnel to Towers can bring hope and security to families who have sacrificed so much for us. Donate $11 a month. Go to t2t.org. That's T2T.org.
Whether you're preparing for exams, juggling family and career, or just looking to stay sharp as you age, Think Factor is here to help. Created by the same company that makes Relief Factor, Think Factor supports sharper focus, stronger recall, and clearer thinking. It's the natural way to give your brain the daily nutrients it needs for memory, attention, and even vibrant vision. Call 800-4RELIEF. 800, the number 4RELIEF, or visit ReliefFactor.com to learn more. Look, I was a little bit skeptical. I started taking Think Factor. After a few weeks, wow, my memory, my focus, my concentration, better than ever. And Think Factor results get better the longer it's taken. If you want to stay focused during demanding tasks, keep your memory strong, maintain mental energy for whatever's ahead, well, Think Factor is for you. Call 800-4RELIEF. 800, the number 4RELIEF, or visit ReliefFactor.com to learn more and order Think Factor. Your first bottle is just $19.95. Think Factor. Think clearer, perform better daily. Call 800-4RELIEF or visit ReliefFactor.com for Think Factor.
Do you live with a chronic or complex condition such as primary immunodeficiency, a bleeding disorder, or a neuromuscular condition, and are looking to pursue a college degree? The InfuCare RX Scholarship Program could be the boost you need to succeed. InfuCare RX understands your challenges, and we're here to help. We are seeking individuals with incredible resilience, determination, and a passion for making a difference in the world. If this sounds like you, don't wait. Apply today at InfuCareRx/scholarships and let us help you take the next step towards your dream career. If this sounds like you, don't wait. Apply today at infucarerx.com/scholarships and let us help you take the next step towards your dream career. InfuCareRx, supporting future leaders who inspire us all.
Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM 970, The Answer.
What is the name of that one, Alex?
Oh man, I love this one. It's called Synthwave Romance by The Play Sound.
Play tunes, yes. Nancy Lee Gulbrandsen is a Florida-based author whose work blends sharp humor, lived experience, and a keen eye for the absurdities of modern life. She's known for her new book, Swipe Left, The Savvy Woman's Guide to Decoding Men's Dating Profiles, a comedic yet practical deep dive into the chaos of online dating, built from her own years navigating the digital trenches. Born and raised with what she describes as a healthy dose of Jersey girl sass, Gulbrandsen has long embraced the role of the wisecracking observer, turning her uncanny ability to attract dating disasters into material that is both self-aware and universally relatable. Now, in her book, Swipe Left, she breaks down everything from red flags and manipulation tactics to attachment styles and safety concerns, all while skewering the parade of fish-holding suitors. I'm going to have to ask her about that. Gym mirror posers, oh, I hate that. And cryptic one-liner profiles that populate dating apps. The book spans 19 chapters and mixes wit with practical insight, positioning itself as both entertainment and a survival guide. When she's not writing, she can be found traveling, collecting news stories, or convincing her family that her dating escapades really are stranger than fiction. Her personal motto, as she put it, is simple. Ready for this, Mert? Swipe left, laugh often, and get yourself a dog. Welcome to the program, Nancy Lee.
Hi, thank you so much for having me back.
Oh, it is always a pleasure. Now, Nancy, a little birdie told me that your book, Swipe Left, is now a top 10 bestseller on Amazon in the online dating category. And I also hear it reached number 3 last week. Is that true?
That is true. And I just, I'm still shocked and thrilled and pinching myself about that. So thank you. Yes.
Well, congratulations. Clearly the book is striking a nerve, and I mean that in the best possible way, because readers aren't just buying your book. They're seeing themselves in it, laughing with it, and feeling understood. The kind of resonance that doesn't happen by accident. It happens when an author like you tells the truth with wit, guts, and generosity. So congratulations and power to you. Why did you write the book, Nancy?
Well, I have quite a sassy sense of humor, and just after being on and off dating apps for years, I had this tremendous amount of material, and it was all so entertaining. And I'm sure any woman that's been on apps for a while could probably sit and write her own book, but I just did it for her. So I could save everybody the time and the trouble and the effort. But my book started as a humorous poem after a incredibly toxic relationship ended, and the humor just came out, and I guess that's how I dealt with it. And I wrote this poem, and I shared the poem with friends, and like, you have to turn this into a book. This is hilarious, and this is your entire dating history in a poem. Take it, make a book out of it. So 3 years later, there she is.
Amen. And before I hand you to Mert, because Mert is dying to ask you a question, what is the funniest story? Can you share a funny story from your book?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've been set up a few times, and I think one of the funniest but almost embarrassing, because this happened among friends, I had a date, and little did I know that I was being set up to make the wife that he was separated from jealous. So we went to a place where he knew she would be and put on a big show, and it was humiliating, but in retrospect, it was hilarious, because across the room, all my friends were watching this whole thing play out. So I excused myself to go to the restroom, and I ducked out of the restaurant, and that was that.
Oh, so you exited stage left and just abandoned him?
I swiped left on the whole evening, yes.
Whoa, and you didn't even say good evening or anything like that? No peck on the cheek, nothing like that?
No, because she was at the table by then, and I was a third wheel, so no, I felt it was...
Oh, my goodness, you mean she was going to sit at your table with him?
Oh, yeah, she was there, and she came over and sat right next to him at our booth, and I was across from him, and I was like, well, now I know why I'm here, and I sat there for a few minutes, and I sized up the situation, and I excused myself, and I left.
What a jerk. Did he try to reach out to you afterwards or apologize?
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy, did he ever. Yeah, he probably wished he hadn't.
Well, you know what? Good for you finding that, the power to leave, and that because you know what, you were being exploited, you were being used as a prop.
Yeah.
So shame on him. Something
that's
Mert would do.
Somebody that I actually swiped right on, right? So I learned it the hard way, and so my goal is to save women the aggravation, the energy, and just the heartache. Recognize the red flags before you get involved in a situation like that. I've been there, I've done that, and I have a story to tell.
Mert, this is your turn. Talk about exploiter, Nancy.
Well, listen. Regardless of what he just said, I got my own agenda. I got my own agenda with Nancy. I'm not trying to hear what Lucas. Lucas has his agenda. I have my agenda.
Yeah, obviously.
So on my agenda, the one thing I wanted you to for me is to describe why do you feel like your book is so successful? Because I oftentimes think, what is the real dating advice you could give women? Because in my opinion, it's easier for women when it comes to dating than it is men. It's a lot harder for a man to take that bold step and go step up to a woman and say, hey, could I take you out? And for a woman, oftentimes it's just either saying yes or no, in my opinion. So why do you think this book is doing so well, considering what I just said, where I think that women already have it easy when it comes to dating?
Well, I think that a lot of women feel that what they're experiencing on the dating apps is only happening to them. And they have a lot of married friends or family members. They're not really in tune with what's happening. Women, they'll get together, for a glass of wine, and they'll swap stories, and then they realize, wow, okay, yeah, so, I'm not the only one. But when you read a book and you see chapter after chapter and archetype after archetype, the guy with the dead fish, the gym rat Jake, the ghosting Gary, breadcrumbing Brad. I mean, I wanted these women who read my book, who are frustrated and feel all alone out there, to understand that the men that you're contacting you, no matter what zip code you're in, the same men are in the same zip codes all over the country. You are not the only one experiencing this. And I'm doing women a favor by saying, look, recognize this character, this man that he's put himself on the profile. Recognize it before you waste your time on swiping right and going through being ghosted or breadcrumbed or catfished, because this is just an utter waste of women's time. And so I use humor and my experiences to to save them the aggravation. At the end of each profile, and there are about 100 profiles in the book, I have something that I call the last word. And when I was growing up, my mom and dad would always say to me, God, you always have to have the last word. Well, that's Jersey girl in me, I suppose. So in my book, at the end of every archetype, I have the last word, and it's a little message to the women, and it's a message to the men. And I know men that have bought this book, and they're like, God, I want to see if, do I fit any of these profiles? If I do, I want to understand what I'm doing wrong. So I just think that, yeah, women, you guys might think that we have it easier, but boy, there might be quality out there, but there's not a lot of quantity.
Amen, Nancy. We have to take a quick commercial break. But folks, have no fear. When we return, Nancy Lee Gulbrandsen will rejoin us. Mert, Alex, and I certainly hope you'll stay right where you are. Nancy Lee Gulbrandsen will be back with us after the break. So if you ever swiped right on a man posing with a fish, buckle up because she has thoughts. Oh, and if you are the man posing with the fish, don't go anywhere. She has thoughts for you too. Hold on. She's got something to say.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 55 East 59th Street, New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, launching a new project, or just looking for that extra edge, your brain is your most valuable asset. Now there's a way to support it every single day. Think Factor. From the makers of Relief Factor, Think Factor is built to help you stay sharp, nurture your memory, boost your attention. It unlocks the mental clarity and precision you need to stay ahead of the game, no matter the challenge. After a couple of weeks of taking Think Factor, I noticed a dramatic difference in my clarity, my focus, even my memory. And look, the longer you take Think Factor, the better it works. This is not a one-off. You want to take Think Factor regularly. If you're a go-getter who refuses to settle, Think Factor can help you perform at your best and keep your edge. Call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800-4RELIEF, or just visit ReliefFactor.com to order Think Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Your first bottle is just $19.95. Think Factor. Think clearer, perform better daily with Think Factor.
It's Dr. Lederman about innovative cancer treatment options often hidden elsewhere. Dr. Lederman discusses all options, what every doctor should do. Patients are amazed at Dr. Lederman's first in America radiosurgery hidden options. Non-invasive, outpatient, highly successful treatment where we attack the cancer. I'm Dr. Lederman for your loved one with cancer treatment options that may have been hidden from you when most needed. For newer recurrent cancers most anywhere in the body, even if prior chemo, surgery, or radiation didn't work or isn't wanted. Call Dr. Lederman, 212-CHOICES, 212-CHOICES for appointment and free cancer treatment booklet DVD. 1384 Broadway at 38th. Most insurances, Medicare, Medicaid accepted. Learn about hidden cancer treatment options. Hidden no more with Dr. Lederman. 212-CHOICES, 212-CHOICES.
Kevin McCullough, glad to be with you. I'm speaking with Danny Patino, and we're talking about food for the poor and feeding children this month. Danny, what are these children experiencing?
Our bodies are miraculous. They will adapt to altitude, to temperature, to stress. But there's one thing that they should never adapt to, and that is hunger. And we met a young girl named Daniela in Honduras, and she's built a tolerance to not eating. I'm going to let that sit in for a moment. She's built a tolerance to noise. She's built a tolerance to discomfort, to inconvenience, but to hunger? And that's the body's ultimate surrender. That's when empty becomes the new normal. And that tolerance isn't strengthful. It's a survival mode. And it's the body learning to function on less than what it needs. And it's a childhood adapting to scarcity. instead of abundance. And once that's built, that tolerance is going to just shape everything from growth, learning, and hope.
855-907-4673. 855-907-4673. You can also text HUNGER to 51555.
Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM 970. The Answer.
Nancy Lee Gulbrandsen is the sharp-witted author of Swipe Left, a comedic and candid guide to decoding the chaos of modern online dating. She joins us today with stories, red flags, and hard-earned wisdom from the digital trenches that every listener will recognize and probably laugh at. To learn more about Nancy and her book, visit her website. That's NancyLeeGulbrandsen.com. Nancy Lee, LeeGulbrandsen.com. You'll find her book, Swiping Left, on Amazon, where it's currently ranking number 3, or wherever books are sold. We'll also have links posted on our website, shakeitofflive.com. Mert, were you trying to say something?
Yes, because somebody who's listening wanted me to ask this. They said, for older people, what are the tips you give them? Because, and for somebody who's written a book on this topic, what are some of the things you've learned and some of the mistakes that the older generation makes when trying out dating online or re-entering into the dating community and using the online avenue as a means of getting back into the dating pool? Can you give some advice to those people?
Yes, absolutely. That's a huge demographic, by the way. People are losing their spouses to death or divorce, and they've been they've been in a relationship for years, and now they're not, and they're lonely, and they're sometimes desperate to find a partner. And when you're in that mindset, you're not really using your logic. You're really just happy to have the attention and someone saying all the right things to you and flattering you. You could very possibly be missing a lot of red flags. So online romantic scams are $1 billion business right now. People are being taken advantage of, both men and women. I'm not just saying that women are being victims of this. It's $1 billion industry right now. So there's a lot of opportunities there. Apparently it's working. So people feel lonely. They get out on the apps. Someone taking advantage of them may not even be a real person. They could be pretending to be an actual person, and it's a financial scam, or it's a romance scam where they don't really have that person's best interests at heart, and it could wind up ending tragically. So that's another part of my book that I touch on in detail. I have Chapter 19 is my Savvy Swiper safety net, and I go into great detail about the romance scams and what to look for and how to make sure that you're not a victim of anything like this.
Hey, Nancy,
isn't
that what people refer to as catfishing or catfished? Isn't that the reference?
Well, catfishing, yes, to a certain extent. Being catfished is often a person that's pretending to be this. I say from a woman's standpoint, a profile of a guy that is saying he's successful and his pictures are great and has this grandiose life, and in reality, he lives in his mother's basement. That's not the real person. If that person will never show up on a date, okay, you're never going to meet that person. They're just catfishing you. And if in the rare instance you do meet that person, it won't be the person that shows up will not be the person that you were talking with.
Right, and I've seen their television shows, I believe now, that are called Catfish or
Yeah,
whatever, where people are extorting or cajoling cash. So people need to be careful. But on that note, Nancy, and related to Mert's question, are you finding that more and more people, particularly older people, are moving away from the apps? And they're going into the traditional or the old world format of, being recommended by friends and meeting at bars or in person. What's your take on that? Is there a shift away from apps, or am I not catching this correctly?
Well, I think there's definitely a shift away from apps, but I think it's more of a younger crowd that's shifting away from the apps, and they're going out and they're trying to meet people organically through friends or activities or hobbies. Older people, tend to be a little more sedate and maybe not as active as the younger people are. So they get, they're hooked on the apps, and, they're at home doing this. And so they're more susceptible to the romance scams. But I'm sure that there are older people that are also saying, this is ridiculous, I got to get out and I've got to meet people. So I'm sure that there's a tendency to move in that direction as well.
Well, I hate to put you in spot, but give me 1 second, Mert. So would you recommend people stay away from apps and do it the old-fashioned way?
Well, okay. Here's what I think about dating apps. I think they're tools, and much like a hammer. You could build something beautiful with a hammer, or you could hit yourself in the thumb repeatedly. So the app isn't the problem. It's how we use it and who we're swiping on. And that's the reason for my book. So It's a tool, and if you learn how to use it properly, something great may happen. At best, you're going to stay away from the people that where you'll bruise your thumb repeatedly.
Love it, and that's why people need your book. Go ahead, Mert.
Now, after this question, you can do you're good at this. You can get us back on track, but I have a bit of a curveball type of question, because I think you can handle this question. What would you think? Do you think it's possible for arranged relationships to work? Do you feel like that's possible? Where you see this in other countries where they just say, you're going to be with this person. Do you think we could ever be in a society where that's how things are going? Because with all this AI technology and they're able to analyze and all this stuff, something just popped in my head. I said, what if we arranged everybody for them to be with somebody? Do you think we could ever be in a society where arranged relationships, because I don't want to narrow it down just to marriages, but arranged relationships could be a thing that works?
I think that's like stepping way back in time. My grandparents were from the Ukraine, and they had an arranged marriage. I can't imagine that.
Well, if you signed up for it, like you signed up for the program, you think it could, something like that could work? If you say, you know what, whatever they pick for me, I'm just going to go with it.
No, I'm too. I know too much. Not me. Maybe somebody would say, "Oh, what the heck? I'll give it a try."
But what is it that you know?
You've seen how these things work on television, the TV shows. That doesn't even work. I mean, very few of those relationships stand the test of time. So I just think that our society has just progressed to the point where I don't see any woman in her right mind signing up for something like that.
Hey, Nancy, what's the funniest message or opener you've ever received from a potential date?
Well, it would be something that, I'm going to, pick out the wedding venue, and, you pick out the flowers, and let's get right to this. What are we waiting for?
Serious?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, because that is kind of, that's a great opening line, right? And quite narcissistic, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, there are some men that just, that they come on strong, and they think that that's going to open all kinds of doors for them. So yes, I've probably seen it and heard it all. And sometimes they open with a photo that's maybe just a little bit, I would call it oversharing.
Which means what? They expose a bit. They expose a bit too much. Is that what you're
Easy,
saying?
Lucas. You know what she's talking about. You don't press her to have to say it. You know what she's talking about. I know exactly what she's talking about. Lucas, he's
in my book. He's in my book, and I refer to him as Dick Pick Rick.
Oh my goodness!
See. No, I got what you're talking about. You need to be careful, Lucas. You know what you're doing. You're not slick.
And let me ask you something, Nancy. What's this breadcrumb reference? I didn't get the bread. What is that reference to?
Okay. Breadcrumbing Brad. Well, breadcrumbing Brad is the guy that comes on strong, and you have a great conversation, great phone conversation. You get together, you have a date, and boy, Brad's all in. And Brad doesn't actually ghost you. He doesn't just disappear after that and never to be seen or heard from again. Brad just picks the most opportune times to drop in and say, hey, how have you been? How you doing? What's up? Hey, beautiful. He doesn't ever really go away. He gives you just enough to keep you there. And in my book, I talk about exactly how to handle breadcrumbing Brad.
What is that? Is it just a tease? What is that?
It's the guy that's really not emotionally available, and he's not really able to commit. So he gives you little pieces of him when it's convenient for him. When you were led to believe that he was really interested in you and that there was a possible relationship. And then he just keeps you on the side just enough to keep you interested, doesn't really go away, but never really commits. Only gives you a little piece of him, not the whole part that you really need to be in a healthy relationship.
So you're not into mystery? You know what I'm saying? A little mystery, Nancy. Come on.
There's being mysterious, and then there's being a breadcrumb Brad.
Okay, I'm gonna have to have listeners look at your book. Now, why do you think so many men post photos holding fish? I wanted to ask you about that. I mentioned it in the intro. Is there some sort of scientific explanation that we're missing? What is this symbolism with fish?
That is that question. It will stand the test of time. And the pictures do not seem to go away. Men know. Everyone knows that women don't want to see this, but for some reason, men continue to post pictures of themselves holding dead fish.
Dead fish. Now is that a mafia? Is that a mafia reference? Is that some sort of mafia reference?
No, it's just the fish he caught in the lake or the ocean. But we're no longer an agrarian society. Men are not hunters and gatherers. Women are not home, baking the bread and beating the rugs and sending the kids or homeschooling the kids. We are no longer that society. So while women definitely like the fact that men have hobbies, whether it's golf or fishing or working out at the gym, and anything extreme is a total turnoff. And so, we all have cameras in our back pockets. We all have somebody that can take our picture without holding a dead animal. Whether you're leaning next to a deer or a turkey or some poor bird you just shot out of the sky, we don't want to see that. We want to see pictures of you, not pictures of you holding things you killed.
So stay away from dead fish, guys. Nancy, we only have about a minute left.
Lose the fish. That's catch of the day, Carl, in my book. Lose the fish.
We only have about a minute left. Nancy, time just flies by with you. For people who are about to open a dating app, what's your parting wisdom before they swipe? Any parting pieces of advice other than to buy your book? What advice would you have for them?
Well, when you open these apps, take everything with a grain of salt. Now with AI, people can doctor their photos. The AI can write their entire profile, learn to recognize what looks like something that someone actually wrote themselves and a picture that looks like something that someone was taken, that someone took of them or they took of themselves. Anything too perfect or is a giant red flag. And remember,
talk about red flags. We have run out of time, Nancy. To learn more about Nancy and her book, visit her website, nancyleegulbrandsen.com. That's GULBRANDSEN.com. Her book, number 3 on Amazon, Swiping Left. Check it out. Go on Amazon or wherever books are sold, and we'll also have links posted on our website. Check it off live. Thanks for coming back on the program, Nancy. We love you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Next up, we'll be joined by Jamie Floyd and Dr. John Lott. Jamie Floyd is an attorney and veteran journalist. She's worked at ABC News and other outlets. She's going to talk about her recent campaign for Congress. And Dr. John Lott, an economist and president of the Crime Prevention Research Center. And he's going to talk about some policies that we need to focus on. But first, we need to take a break. So let's come back after the news at the top hour, through a few commercial messages, and all of us will be waiting right here for you. We know you do. Shake It Off, Hour 2, after this.
One night time, there's no love to rust. I wanna know it's right, but I just wanna know.
The preceding hour of programming is sponsored by Shake It Off Live, LLC.
In times like these, we all need a word of encouragement. From pastor and best-selling author Max Lucado comes the Max Lucado Encouraging Word podcast. With over 40 years of ministry and more than 145 million books sold in 50 languages, Max shares the greatest story ever told, the living Savior who brings hope for a lifetime. Through rich biblical insight, heartfelt storytelling, you'll be reminded that God is always near, always for you, and always in you. Listen to the Max Lucado Encouraging Word podcast, where hope meets your day. Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts.